It was called indistinct chatter in the captions. And so sometimes when we began to focus on ourselves, when we began to sow into ourselves, oh, that sounds different, right? That you're not sowing into some outside entity, that you're sowing into yourself, you're sowing into your goals and your dream. All that other stuff becomes indistinct chatter. Indistinct chatter. And so God said to remind you this morning that yes, many of you are helpers. Yes, many of you are guides by way of ministry profession, by way of your job, that you're just built to help others. But God says that don't lean into fixing, because many times when you lean into fixing situations of others, you begin to step away from what he's really asking of you, what he's really asking of you. And so God had to really paint this picture for me. Sometimes people are here, well, everybody's here to learn what I call soul lessons. Sometimes there has been decisions made that this is what you're meant to learn in this lifetime. And what I found in my own life, the area that I may feel like I have had a cycle in, right? I'm talking past tense, right? Because God is a cycle breaker, right? God is a cycle breaker. But the areas that I've had cycles in my life, that I could look at my own life, I had a cycle in it. That was an area where I had a life lesson to learn. A life lesson literally changes the trajectory of your life when you learn it. Like when you learn that lesson, it literally changes the trajectory of your life. And so sometimes we see people around us, they're in cycles. And they may logically with their head know that they're in a cycle, but in their heart, they have not learned the lesson. Their soul has not gotten the lesson, meaning that their heart and their head has not come into coherence, that they don't agree, that there's not the same level of understanding in their heart and in their soul as they have in their mind of a cycle, right? And so sometimes we come along and we see people in a cycle and we may not know that they're in a cycle. But if you sit back and ask God to just show you where a person is around a certain area, God will show you. But when we have a lack of self-love and a self-appreciation, sometimes we reach over, right? And we try to fix something in somebody's life when they're still in a cycle. Well, if they're in a cycle, this time next year, it doesn't matter what you fix. They're going to be right in the same situation, whether it's a relationship with a different person, different gender, it's going to be the same issue that they're in that cycle. Whether it's financially, it's going to be it could be a different issue, but they're still going to have issues with their finances. If it's around their body, self-love, image, the image that they have of their bodies, how they think about themselves. Sometimes we can come in and fix and give and do all of these things when that person has not resolved within themselves to learn the lesson and come out of the cycle, right? A cycle is always going to continue. And so God showed me and said, so a person is in a cycle here and you're reaching over, right? You're reaching over trying to fix something. They're in a cycle. So they're going to pull you away from what you need to be working on because you chose to put your energy into something when a person needs to learn a lesson, right? And so God is saying it is okay to be a guide. It is okay to be a minister. It is okay to lead and guide people, but we are not to become fixers in their lives, because what happens when we become a fixer? We take away their power to co-create. We take away their power to co-create.